Welcome to another edition of It's a Long Beach Thing. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast platform and like us on Facebook and on Instagram. We have a great show for you today. I always love to talk about sports. So we're bringing in the Jordan head coach, Philip Berman. Coach Phil, how are you today?
Good. How you doing?
Good. Hey, well, thank you so much for taking the time. I know that you guys are ramping up for the season, so I don't take that lightly. So thanks again for taking this time to come on and talk to us.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking forward to it.
Right on. Well, Phil, uh, what's your first association with this great city of Long Beach?
I'll give you a little bit of a throwback. I was
Okay,
thinking
let's do
about it
it.
all week. I think just going to ice dog games with my dad growing up, and obviously I'm a huge hockey fan, and then also too just going to dirt bag games and Long Beach State basketball games and playing at ELB and Hartwell Pony. So a lot of sports, I would say.
Well, that's cool. Going back to the Ice Dogs, because they had a good run at the
Yeah.
what they play at the arena, right? The Long Beach Arena.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if it was before your time. I know you were alive when this happened, but I don't know if you were too young to be around to watch it. Maybe you were. But a former Kings used to play for the Ice Dogs, and Marty McSorley, who was kind of like the goon for Wayne Gretzky back in the day.
Yeah, I think that was a little bit before my time, but yeah, I know who McSorley is. It was Gretzky's on ice protection.
Yeah, so he came there. I believe he did something in the NHL where it kicked him out, and he needed a place to go, and he came to the Ice Dogs. Wow, and that was a great. When did you do you know when they kind of ended their reign in Long Beach?
I think it was 06, 07.
Oh, geez, so it's been a minute. It's been a minute since
Yeah.
that's happened. That's cool. So, do you think if you were to live in a because you grew up in Long Beach, so do you think if you grew up in a different climate, let's say you grew up in the East Coast or the Midwest, do you think that you might have played hockey over baseball, or do you think that baseball would have always still been your first love?
I probably would have chosen hockey. That's kind of like growing up. I played hockey and baseball, and then but living in California, you're not there's not much of a future playing hockey. So yeah, definitely. But I still play men's league hockey, and it's kind of funny. I had some of my baseball players out in my men's league championship a couple weeks ago, and they thought it was like the NHL. These guys were chanting and booing, and it was
Oh,
hilarious.
you brought in your baseball team, your baseball kids to
Yeah, there's about
cheer
eight
for
of
you.
them there. They all wanted to see me play, so
That's
these guys were.
cool.
Yeah, it was awesome. The guys on my team loved it. It was funny. I mean, these guys thought it was like the NHL, so it was
That's cool. And
awesome.
then also, I'm sure because you probably instill hard work and dedication. Did you have a little bit more oomph than you normally do because your kids were watching you play?
Yeah, I was kind of joking with them. Coach Berm's going to show you guys how to compete tonight.
That-
So yeah, they're going to kick out of it. So it was funny. It was a good
That's
time.
cool. So let's go back to your journey a little bit. You grew up in the Long Beach area. An interesting conversation I had with you at the Century Club a few weeks ago. You grew up in the Milliken area, but you decided to go to Jordan High School, which I love. I mean, because as you know, I'm sure you know that you've probably fought against this at Jordan. You're probably one of the people that are bringing in a different reputation of Jordan. But generally speaking, when it comes to sports, Jordan what hasn't been the number one school you think about when it comes to sports. And that's the new, not so much about Jordan, but how dominant that Lakewood, Milliken, Wilson, and Paulie have been in sports. And as a result, I think Jordan comes to the back burner. But there's been several great athletes to come out of Jordan. So talk about that story about living in the Milliken area, but deciding to go to Jordan.
Yeah, so I mean, I'll kind of backtrack it a little bit. Growing up playing at ELB and then Hartwell Pony, like I was never the star player. I loved to play the game, but I wasn't great. I never made all stars or anything like that. I was a pretty good player. And I mean, for me, even going through junior college and then at William Penn, I never passed the eye test as a player. So I wanted to go to a place where I had a chance to play. And I played for Coach Prager on a travel ball team. He was the head coach at the time at Jordan. And this is coming off when Jordan, the year before when I was in eighth grade, they lost to Pauley or excuse me, they beat Pauley, they beat Wilson, so they're super competitive. And I wanted a chance to have a chance to play right away. If I would have went to Milliken, then I probably, play freshman, then JV, then maybe 2 years of JV. But I went to Jordan and played 4 years of varsity, and just the experience I got, it just improved me so much as a player. I didn't have to worry about getting cut every year, and just, I mean, as a player, I stressed, I worried, 'cause I love playing the game so much. So I think that those were kind of the things. I've always been my parents. I'm very thankful for it. They're always realistic for my ability. I wasn't the most athletic guy, um, but I just worked super hard, and I'm just I'm grateful I went to Jordan. I definitely made the right choice there. So yeah.
Yeah, but it's interesting that you say that. You talk about, in Little League and Pony League and everything like that. You said you didn't make any All-Star teams, and you said that you may not have been the best player on the team, and but yet you played college ball. You played college ball, a stat that only less than 3% of the people that play high school ball do, and you did it. You played college ball. So talk about in high school, you playing at Jordan, the mindset and what you had to do to make that a reality. Because if you're telling me that you weren't the best athlete on your team growing up, never made an all-star team, but yet you made your college teams, there had to have been some stuff going on that you were doing that other people were doing, and I would like to know what that was because other kids need to know this.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I'll backtrack it again. It's like my goal was, for me growing up, it was to make the high school team. And then once I got to high school, it wasn't like you see a lot of now social media kids. It's all about playing in college. It's all about playing in college. And, as I got a little bit older, I was like, I got some talent here. I've always had some tools. I always put the ball in play. And then at Jordan, I was able to kind of refine my swing, and I think I ended up hitting like 450 my senior year of high school.
Wow.
Yeah, and for me, it's something that my one of my junior college coaches said. There's some people that can just roll out of bed and they're successful. They don't need to put the work in, and they can go 3 for 3. And then there's other people that have to put in extra work just to get where everyone else is, and that was me. I had to work super hard. I didn't play travel ball, so in the summers it was just working super hard and a lot of tea work and just that dedication and just having fun. And I was almost like, if I missed a day in the summers of playing long toss or tea work, it would drive me crazy. I felt like someone else is getting better than me. So I think it's just the work ethic part, and I think a lot of it too is just the not playing travel ball, because a lot of guys, they play year round and they kind of got burnt out, by the time they're senior in high school or by the time they get to junior college. So for me, I still had the hunger and I still had the drive. So I think that's just the huge thing, was just working hard. It's super cliche, but um, just the work ethic, I think, is kind of what made me get to where I was. And just the willingness to, I always, took pitches for the team. I'd always die for every ground ball. And just kind of stuff like that. That's what I tell my players now. It's, if you want to get to the next level, you kind of got to do things that other people aren't willing to do. So that's kind of what I did. So
And also, when you're doing the tee work and you're doing the long toss, you're doing all these things. One of the other things that I think people overlook with that stuff, because yeah, hard work is hard work, and there's times in your journey, I'm sure even you, even though you skipped a day, I'm sure there was times when you were doing it where it's like, oh man, I wish I was in the pool right now, or on a hot day wanting to do other things. And that always comes into play. And again, what you said, well, somebody else, if I don't do it, somebody else is going to do it, going to do it, which is great. But another point that I'd like to make, and maybe you definitely have insight on this, is there's got to be enjoying of the present. There's got to be enjoying of the journey. You got to enjoy. I know not every aspect of it is going to be enjoyable, but you got to enjoy, in the lack of a better word, enjoying the suck, enjoying the tee work, enjoying the long toss, enjoying some of the stuff that you're doing to get better. Because if every moment that you're doing it is horrible, I would imagine that it's going to be very hard to keep that intensity up. If your every day is like, oh God, I hate this, I think it'd be hard for you to do it. So talk a little bit about, was there enjoyment through this process when you were doing it? And was there things that you did to make it fun, to take out the monotony of things?
I mean, for me, it's like I was thinking. I usually think about it during the summers. Is like that's what I miss. It's just like getting in like a little routine where you go to the gym and then you play catch. And I mean, I always thought it was cool when, you know, some of my junior college teammates were all playing at different schools throughout the country. I was in Iowa. A couple of our guys were in Kansas, and then we'd all come home and just work out together. Like I always thought that was cool. Like that's the stuff that I really miss. It's just getting into that routine of just, it's like, yeah, you're working, but it's like you're having fun too.
Mhm.
So and it's fun, like when you get with your teammates and your friends and you're just all trying to push each other and make each other better. Like, no, that's the stuff that I really miss. Like as far as the playing, like I was so stressed when I would play just because I had to take advantage of every opportunity.
Mhm.
And nothing was really handed to me. I had to go out there and earn everything. So
Mhm.
I definitely, I miss the grinding. And I mean, I look back at, when I played, I wish I would have had more fun, to be honest. But I
Mhm.
was just always worried about, working so hard and just trying to stay in the lineup and stuff like that. So,
Mhm. Talk about the mindset of that, like, because obviously there's a lot of anxiety. I mean, if you're constantly thinking about, oh man, I could be pulled at any time, I could be taken out of the lineup, and that's a hard way to think it. But you coach baseball, and you've been around baseball, and I've been around baseball, and those thoughts are in the back of pretty much all the players' heads, unless you're this great superstar player, but the percentage of that is very small compared to the rest of the team. So I would say most players feel that way. So you as a coach, what do you instill in your players, knowing that you probably have a lot of empathy for some of your players that are like, oh man, they're on. You see them, they're on the cusp,
yeah.
they're working hard. Um, what do you tell them, on those pressure situations? Because as well as I do, if you play with that stress all the time, worrying about what could go wrong, things go wrong. The best way to play is to quiet down the brain and allow the muscle memory to take over. You can do that stuff when you're at practice, but when it's time to play the game, it's time to kind of shut that part of your brain down and allow this muscle memory to take over. So what do you tell your players about stuff like that?
Yeah, I just tell them that your mistakes are going to happen in a game. I don't mind if you make a mistake as long as you're giving 110%. It's baseball. You're going to make mistakes. Um, and that's just kind of what I tell them. You just got to keep moving forward in the game. It's like you have a bad at bat. Are you going to be a team guy and dwell on it the rest of the game? Or are you going to, go make a play on defense to try to help the team win? Because you're not always going to have your bat.
Mhm.
But there's always things you can do to help the team win when things aren't going well at the plate, or maybe defensively. You had a rough game, but you know what? Maybe you're able to get on base and steal a base, or you're able to make a great dirt ball read. I don't want my players ever to like have that feel like, oh, walking on eggshells almost.
Mhm.
I want my guys to be able to have fun and enjoy it and play. So it's, I don't, in games, I'm never going to scream at a guy if they make an error. It's like, I don't believe that's going to make a guy go out and make the next
Yeah.
play. It's almost just give him a pat on the back. You'll get the next one. I think um, that's more efficient way to coach, I would say.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So you play. I would imagine though, when you're hitting 450 your senior year, you start not really think about losing your spot in the lineup. You're probably thinking about, um, hey, can I extend this into college? So when was that transition from you thinking, oh man, I gotta look over my shoulder because I might be pulled, to the fact that, oh, you know what, I might have an opportunity to play college ball.
So it was more in high school. I was pretty much a starter. The kind of the looking over the shoulder kind of started when I was in junior college. I kind of felt when I was, a sophomore, kind of having some success. I thought I might be able to play at the next level, but
Okay.
it wasn't like my end all be all type thing. I didn't think it was guaranteed or anything. And then it was around my senior year when some junior colleges started talking to me. And that's when it started. And then like junior college or college baseball, it's so different. Like everyone's the best player on their team. You go from being the guy to, you're no longer like you're just another guy on the team. And I think some guys have trouble adapting to that. And other guys are able to make that change. So
So what position did you play in high school?
I was a first baseman.
Your first baseman. Oh, see, that's a tough, as you know, as a coach. But I just want to explain it to everybody, is that's a tough position. The reason why I say that's a tough position is because generally you put the slugger there, right? You got to be the power hitter. You got to be hitting. You're got to be driving in the runs. And if you're not driving in the runs, you could be replaced easily because generally you put the bigger guy there, and that could be. And if you're obviously you got, I mean, yes, you got to play good defense, but there's other positions like shortstop, center field, catcher, third base, that you really, in second base, you got to be really good with the glove. First base, you got to be good with the glove, but you can get away with things a little bit more if you have the bat. But if the bat's not going, it's hard to show off your first baseman skills in the field, going, well, great, you play good first base, but you're really costing us in the middle of the lineup. So talk a little bit about that, because I'm sure that you experienced that, especially probably in junior college.
Yeah, I mean, I would say not so much the hitting part from high school to college
Uh-huh.
is an adjustment. It's the defense. Everything is so much faster.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't play a ton of defense my freshman year of college. I DH and I had pinch hit.
Uh-huh.
But it's just like I mean, it's so funny. If I would go back in hindsight, being left-handed, I would have worked on, playing outfield more. Because
Mm.
it's exactly what you said. It's like if you're not hitting at first base, then the backup shortstop's gonna come over to play first base because anyone can play it.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's funny. It's like the fall when I was at William Penn University, I didn't hit very well in fall ball, but I just like I somehow played great enough defense to keep me as a starter.
Was it
So
first base? So you stayed first base throughout your college, throughout your baseball career, sounds like, huh?
yeah, first base and DH.
Okay,
So
so you get to junior college. You were DH DH most of the time.
my freshman year, yeah.
Okay, so um, you must have hit pretty well for them to keep you in the lineup as a DH, because that's even worse, right? I mean, you don't even play in the field, so if you hit as a DH, you're out.
Yeah, I mean, like my freshman year, it was like I wasn't playing a whole lot early, and then got some pinch hit at bats, and then got some starts. I mean, I DH and pinch hit a lot that year, my freshman year. And I didn't mind it. I didn't mind DHing. I didn't mind pinch hitting. I kind of enjoyed it, to be honest. I like the pressure of it. Just kind of, and I became really good at it. It's like, you're coming in off the bench cold, you're going to get a fastball.
Hmm.
And they're going to try to play it by you. And I think that's why I was a pretty good hitter because I always pretty much put the ball in play. So I knew, I knew a fastball was coming, and I was a good pinch hitter, so a good DH. So,
What makes a good pinch hitter?
um, I think just the willingness to just stay focused. I mean, even throughout college when I wasn't in the lineup, I'd kind of be in the dugout, popping off a little bit. And then and later on, the fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth inning come around, kind of stay loose, swing a bat. And then just, I think it's the big thing is just jumping on that first pitch fastball because it's there. You're sitting there cold on the bench. You can't miss it. It's like usually when you pinch hit, you get one good pitch, and if you miss it, then you're in trouble. You fall behind 0-1 after sitting on the bench for a majority of the game. It's tough. You get a curveball and then 0-2. Good luck. So
Mm. So after your freshman year, you show off your offensive skills as a pinch hitter and a DH, which gives you a little bit of what. By the way, what junior college was it?
LA Harbor.
LA Harbor. Okay, so Harbor, which they're known for a pretty good team. So you get there, DH, and in your second year, did the first baseman that was there leave, or did you just beat that person out?
Kind of a funny story. So there was a coaching change going into my sophomore year junior college. For whatever reason, the coach just, he had an opinion about me as a player, but it's okay. So we got a new coach. And so we had our fall ball meeting. And I love Coach Avalar. He's one of my favorite coaches. He's the head coach at Harbor, and I learned so much from him. And just kind of it goes back to the theme of just having to earn everything. So we had our entrance meetings, and he told me I was our third string first baseman. No guarantee to make the team.
Hmm.
Um, and then just throughout the fall, I was doing okay, nothing great, nothing horrible. And they wanted to move the starting first baseman to the outfield in one of our scrimmages against Chapman University. And luckily enough, the second string, the Dodgers, forced the game five. So he went to the Dodger game instead of, playing in our scrimmage against Chapman. And I went 3 for 3 and, never looked back after that. Ended up being our starting first baseman.
Wait a minute,
Um,
wait a minute. So one of your players went to a Dodger game instead of the game?
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. And it cost
So,
him it could have cost him his position.
yeah, he ended up not making the team.
Hmm.
Um,
Whoa.
so, I don't know. Like, I mean, I was doing okay in the fall, nothing great. And I
What
had a drag bunt.
I want to go back a second because how did you feel when you had the new coach come in and say, "Hey, you know what? On the depth chart right now, you're the third string first baseman." How did that make you feel? I mean, what was your emotion at that time? Was it the beating? Did you say, "I'll show you"? What was your thought process in your head when you heard that from your coach?
I mean, I wasn't, you're never gonna be thrilled with that, but I just kind of made the decision. It's like I can sit here and feel sorry for myself, or I can go out there and do everything I can, play as hard as I can, and just kind of do what I do. So
Okay,
that
so
was that
that
was kind of my mindset. I wasn't gonna sit there and pout and why me, but yeah,
love that, and I'm sure you instill that with your players as well.
yeah,
Well, which I'm going to get into later on, but I want to stay with your journey for a minute. So, opportunity hit. They moved the starting first base in the outfield. Must have some really good athletic ability that they want to try him in the outfield. The other guy, he went to Game 5 of the playoffs of the Dodgers, which oh well, I guess it is what it is on that. And then you took full advantage. You said you went for 3 for 3 that day.
yeah. I don't think I've in my whole entire playing life, I don't think I ever got a drag bunt down except for that night. Like I had a bunt base hit, I had a shot back up the middle, and a shot to left field. It was just like it was crazy.
How did you like with this opportunity? I'm sure the start of that game, knowing that you're the starting first baseman of this game, knowing that that you were told weeks earlier that you were the third string first baseman. What was your anxiety level? How did you feel? What were you telling yourself before that game?
um, Honestly, I was just trying not to think about it, if I remember
Hmm.
correctly. It was kind of a do or die. Like it's what you make of your opportunity.
Hmm.
I might not get any more. So I was just trying to just stay calm, and I was honestly just probably excited because it
Love
was
that.
like, I'm getting my chance now. I have no one else to blame but myself if this doesn't go well.
Love
So
that.
I was super excited and just trying to let the game come into me and not try
Love
to
that.
do too much at that time.
So you took that what could have been anxiety and you changed that emotion because that emotion is very, very similar to excitement. And you decided instead of being anxious about the game, you decided to be excited about the game. And as a result of you being excited about that game, you put in a wonderful performance of 3 for 3. First and only time you laid down a drag bunt and did it on a time where you really needed it,
Yeah.
so that you had to feel really, really good about that 3 for 3 first base performance for yourself, huh?
Yeah, it was I just kind of smile. Like I look back and like that's one of just my proudest things and it's something that I teach my players is I don't know if the Wally Pipp story with Lou Gehrig.
Yeah.
That's one of the first things we talk about in the fall, and I use that example of, Wally Pipp came out of the lineup because he had a headache, and then never was in the big leagues again.
Mm.
And then I tell him the story of the guy that went to the Dodger game and then ended up not making the team, and so that's just I just look back at that. It's just a crazy story, but it's a funny one and it's an awesome one. So
So you went 3 for 3, and I'm assuming this was fall ball at the time, right?
correct, yeah, it was a scrimmage.
Okay, so you're so you're just at this point you're just kind of building momentum. It sounds like you had a pretty good fall then.
Yeah, after that, I mean, we pretty much me and the other guy split time. But if I was playing first base, or if he was playing first base, I was DHing. If I was playing first base, he was playing the outfield. So yeah, just that. Yeah,
Okay, so now you had a good sophomore year at junior college at LA Harbor. Now we're thinking, okay, well let's step it up a notch. When did that come in your head? Like, hey, you know what? I don't think I'm done yet. I got some college ball left in me.
well, it's kind of funny. It wasn't all just a easy ride. So
Hmm.
I earned the starting job for the first regular season game, and I got off to just a really bad start to the season. It was like I earned the starting job, and I didn't really know how to handle it.
Mm.
I put so much stress just wanting to play so good, and I just put too much pressure on myself. So then I was out of the lineup for, I mean, I was pinch hitting here and there, but then I was out of the lineup for a couple weeks. And then I got back in and I went like 9 for 16. I was on an absolute tear. And then, the game before I break my hand, I was 4 for 4, feeling like I was on fire and on top of the world. And I was a hit and run and I break my hand. So at that point I thought I was done. I didn't think I was going to get to play. And
I want to pause that for a second. I want to go back for just a second.
yeah,
Because you said that you started off at not a little bit nervous, a little bit anxious because of the fact that you're in the role, but then you didn't start off hot. They sit you back, they sit you down, you start pinch hitting again, and then just with things happen, you got another opportunity. What was your mindset shift? There had to have been a mindset shift there. What was your mindset shift from
um,
from when you were starting out, in that season as a starter to when you were benched to when you got the next opportunity?
yeah, I think when I was a starter, it was like I just worked so hard for that opportunity. That it was like, okay, I got here and I kind of let my guard down a little bit. Um, and then to when I lost my job, I started to put too much pressure on myself. Like I just wanted to help the team win so bad. And then what kind of flipped the switch was I went out and made like a diving play against Irvine Valley in like the second inning. And then I happened to lead off the next inning. So I finally felt like I helped the team by making a big play. And then, I got a base hit, then my next step back. And then I just was like, okay, I'm helping the team. And I could take a deep breath. And I was just, I felt like confident and I felt like I was contributing. So it was just that kind of helped me.
Good. Okay. So now go back to you. Everything's hot, 4 for 4. Yeah. And then how did you break your hand?
It was a hit and run the first pitch that I saw of the day. Tried to keep my hand inside it, and ball just hit my hand. I broke my hand. At the time, I thought it was just a bad bruise. The umpire. I mean, there's a dead ball strike because I swung at it. So I finished my at bat. I didn't think anything of it. I was DHing that day. Um, so I was going to go back up there for my next at bat, but I couldn't grip the bat.
Mm.
Um, and then it didn't hurt. I mean, the thing that sucked was just hearing that I'm out for the rest of the season after I got my X-rays. So that right there is like I think I'm done. Like I didn't, nobody came out to see me play or anything like that. So it was kind of devastating at the
Mm.
time.
Mm. I want so you were devastated about that, which rightfully so. You're doing so well. You break your hand. Your junior college career is done. Uh, what was the ray of hope that happened that you thought, okay, yeah, my hand is broken, my hand is healed. I want to continue on. What happened there?
I think it was funny. Like I mean, I was showing up to practice every day, and you know, being a good teammate, coming to every game. And I mean, my dad was too, and I think him and my dad and Coach Avila were talking after the game. And I think my dad implied that, like, yeah, I'm going to, my career's over pretty much. And then Coach Avila looked at me like he was crazy
Hmm.
because he's going to be able to find me a place to play. And that right there, just kind of from a place of like super, darkness and just feeling like it's over to like a little bit of ray of hope. Like it really brightened me up. And there I was like,
Hmm.
okay, I think I'm going to be able to play at the next level. So,
Hmm. How's important is somebody in belief in you? Like your coach had belief in you, and how much of that made that change? If say he didn't say that, say he said, yeah, he said, oh yeah, he agreed with your dad. How much would that have changed your story?
yeah, I think it's all about having confidence in somebody. And I think I look back at it as a player. That's when I played my best. Is when coaches, I felt like coaches believed in me and had confidence in me.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's huge. It's everything. That's why I don't really like to bury players and be super overly critical about them. I try to build them up, and it's in high school ball and college ball. You can't go out and make a trade. You know, you deal with what you have. Um, so I think it's confidence is everything. Believing in players and having somebody believe in you is huge.
So your coach believed in you, and your coach found a spot for you. Where was the spot that your coach found for you?
William Penn University in NAI in Iowa.
Oh, okay. Have you ever been to that? Did you ever visit that state through,
No,
playing? No.
no. It's funny. We were hitting in the summer, and I got a call from Oskaloosa, Iowa, and I thought it was like a sales call. I'd never heard of Oskaloosa before, and it was Coach Laird. Had a good conversation on the phone, and he gave me about a few days to make up my mind to sign or not because it's they don't want to get left out in the dark. So just kind of looked it up online. I was like, looks good. So signed there. So
You never even went to the campus.
no, no.
Wow. Never went to the state, never went to the campus, but just leap of faith. This school is giving me an opportunity, so let's go.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Uh,
Okay. So
I,
you
I
get
wasn't
so
gonna waste a minute. I didn't want him to go out there and sign somebody else. So I just, all right, yep, I'm in.
so tell us the story about you going to that's Iowa the first time, and that culture difference between being in Long Beach, Southern California, to Iowa.
Yeah, it's different. The style of baseball is different. It's the people are a little bit different, not in a bad way. They're more, that's so funny. The thing that I notice the most is when we go to like a grocery store, just how how slow the pace of life is. Like I feel like out here, you go to the grocery store, everyone's going 100 miles an hour in there.
Mm-hmm.
It was just the pace of life is so slow out there because you don't have to worry about traffic or anything. So I enjoyed it in that sense. And kind of funny enough, like I'm a huge Mountain Dew fan, and I think one of my favorite parts out there is they got flavors that we haven't seen out here in years. Um, so that was pretty sweet. But just it was awesome. I enjoyed my time out there.
How about the cold? I mean, it gets way colder than it does Long Beach. how are you able to handle that? And are they able to play with the weather out there? Are they even able to play? Are you even able to play baseball all year round like you do here in Long Beach in Southern California?
So we were, I mean, so we were fortunate. We had like a indoor facility with about 50 yards of astroturf, so we were able to practice, in the winter and springtime. As far as the cold goes, as far as the playing side of it, I took it as like just like it was an experience. Like you're cold, but it's like we're playing in 23-degree weather. Like that's only something I'm gonna talk about the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Um, so and as far as dealing with it, we the first part of the season we'd go down to kind of some of the like we'd go down a little bit. So we play in Kansas and southern Missouri. Um, to try to make sure we get our games in. So that's kind of how we dealt with that. But I just took it as an experience. Like it's crazy just playing in Iowa and it's cold and yeah. So it was I just took it as an experience. Like I could have sat back and kind of made excuses and it's too cold, but it's cool. I don't know.
How'd you how'd your experience go on the field there?
Kind of a lot of ups and downs. So this was I was kind of took over as the starter, and I was hitting. I mean, I was hitting really well. I think I had one strikeout in my first 50 plate appearances. I was seeing the ball like a beach ball.
Mm.
I was on fire, and then about the last 3 quarters of the season, I threw my back out. Just in batting practice, my back went out, and I missed about 6 weeks, which just it sucked. And we were right fighting for one of the last playoff spots in the conference tournament, and I came back a little bit too early, trying to be a hero, and ended up in the season going like 1 for 29. And my back didn't feel better probably until it still doesn't feel all that great, but probably about middle of the summer. So
Was this D1 or D2?
NAI.
Okay. So then, so that over the summer, did you continue on and play another year there, or what happened then?
Yeah, the coach brought in, another guy to compete with at first base. And rightly so. I ended the season not very well. And I ended up not being the starter. I got a few at bats non-conference. But I try to make my impact on the games. Like twice I caught guys missing bases on the other teams. So we got those outs. And then again, I got my chance in the lineup, like our first game of conference, and started every game in conference. So um, just I always had a knack to just take
You
advantage of my
regained your starting
opportunity.
role in conference.
Yeah, yeah.
Nice.
So I got a few ABs here or there, non-conference. I'll be honest, I was a little bit bitter. Um, I felt like I had a good fall. And I felt like I had a good season prior before getting hurt my junior year. But I still was a good teammate and worked hard and got my opportunity and just didn't look back again. So
You got a little bit of Tom Brady in you.
I guess I don't know. I guess for me, it's like this is what I'm used to. Like, I mean, growing up, like I would start this. You're on a 12-man, Pinto team, and I'd usually start hitting 11th, and by the end of the season, I'd hit, fourth or fifth. So
Mm.
it's just it was really tough my senior year though, just not playing a whole lot early. And then I just got my opportunity, and so
So then your second year's out. I would imagine all your eligibility of playing ball is done at this point, correct?
yeah.
Okay, and there was any thoughts of playing independent ball or any of that nature, or were you done? Was it time to hang them up?
Yeah, I know I had no shot at playing any pro ball.
Hmm.
I was a good hitter. Wasn't I didn't hit for a ton of power, but I knew my future was going to be in coaching. So um,
So throughout that process, in the back of your mind, you always wanted to get into coaching.
yeah, I knew that was going to be my future.
Okay, so what was your next step after William Penn?
Uh, so I became the hitting coach at Cabrillo for a year.
Hmm. So you came
Um,
home, you came back,
yeah,
you came home to Long Beach.
yeah, came back home to Long Beach, and then the head coach at Cabrillo at the time was a JV coach at Jordan. So they needed a hitting coach, and I wanted to get coaching varsity right away. So I went to Cabrillo, and was a hitting coach for a year, and then the head coach ended up stepping down. So I was the head coach. The next year, the head coach stepped down. So then I was the head coach at Cabrillo for 3 years. Yeah.
So, obviously, it wasn't that long. I mean, you went from college right into coaching high school. So at that point, you're not that much older than these kids. Was that an advantage, disadvantage? Talk about how you were able to make that work that, as the hitting coach and then and as the head coach at Caprio.
Yeah, no, it's true. I think I was 22 or 23, and I mean, seniors are 17, 18. So I kind of try to be almost like an older brother. Like if I tried to be the old, like stern, elderly coach, like it's not going to work.
Yeah.
So I almost try to take on like an older brother mentality, and just try to give them advice and stuff like that. So yeah.
So then you were there for you were there for 3 years. How did you do there as the head coach at Caprio?
Um, we had some good teams there. It just seemed like the years we had really good pitching, we had no offense. Like we had one season we lost to Pauly 1-0. We lost to Wilson 1-0. And then the year the pandemic shut down, we had one league game against Wilson, lost 1-0. They got a base hit in the sixth inning to put it away. And then my last year there, we hit really well. We just didn't have any pitching whatsoever. So, um, you know,
And then at that point there was an opportunity to go to Jordan. How'd that work out?
yeah. I mean, it never really felt right being at Cabrillo. If I'm being honest with you, I mean, it's Jordan and Cabrillo, and baseball's a pretty big rivalry. So, it just never felt right.
Mm.
And the Jordan job opened up, and I wanted to go there. To be honest, I love my time at Jordan.
Was that your goal when you were in college and you were thinking about coaching? Was that your goal to be the head coach at Jordan?
I don't know if it was my goal, but I always thought it'd be pretty cool to kind of do that,
Okay.
to go back to Mold High School. I mean, I'm very thankful for my experience in high school. So I kind of wanted to give back to some of the players and stuff like that.
So you came? I assume you came from the head coaching position in Korea to the head coaching position at Jordan, or did you have to?
Correct. Yeah, I was the head coach at Jordan
Oh,
right
so
away.
so you and what was and so I'm assuming then that felt like home as far as like this is where I practice. This is where I went to school. Did it feel? It just started to feel a little bit more comfortable for you?
Yeah, it felt. Yeah, there's some comfort, but also too, it's a little weird being colleagues with some of my old teachers.
Hmm.
Um, and then also too, it's the new. I mean, Jordan got rebuilt, so the campus is all brand new. So it looks awesome. It's modern. I kind of like to joke around with my students and tell them, pretend to be the bitter old teacher. And back in my day, we didn't have any of this nice technology and stuff. We didn't have any air conditioning.
Yeah.
But
And you had to walk to school barefoot uphill both ways.
yeah, back in my day, yeah.
So then how long have you, so you how long have you been the head coach at Jordan now?
It's gonna be my fourth year.
Fourth year. Okay. So now that you're getting a little bit older, now that there's a little bit now starting to be more and more every year, a little bit more of a gap in in your age compared to your kids. You're still very young, I'm sure now that there's a little bit more of a gap, a little bit different maturity that you've had, probably made you a better coach. How do you feel like from this is your seventh year as the coach, a seventh year in coaching ball?
Yeah, seventh year. Yeah, seventh year as a head coach.
Okay, seventh year at coaching, so you're starting to become a veteran at this a little bit more. I mean, not, I mean, compared to Spud and Hall, obviously not so much, but you're starting to gain a lot of getting a lot of experience each and every season. Has your coaching style changed from when you started as hitting coach to Cabrillo to now being your seventh year in coaching and you're going on your fourth year at Jordan?
Yeah.
Has your coaching style evolved and changed since that point?
I definitely think I paced myself a little bit more. When I was young, I was super hungry. Like every single day, oh, we can't miss a day of practice. There's another team getting better.
Hmm.
But it's like if it rains, it's like, I think now I definitely have a switch that I flip. I plan on doing this till I'm, Spud O'Neill's age. So I definitely I pace myself a little bit. Like in fall ball, I'm a little bit more laid back. And then as soon as we, like this year we got back from winter break, I just completely flipped the switch and turned the intensity up. So I think definitely just pacing myself a little bit more
Hmm.
because I don't want to get burnt out.
Yeah, or have health issues. Having health issues as a young man, having high blood pressure every day, being like it's the seventh game of the World Series may not be the best strategy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and also with that being said, your goals sometimes, like you have different players that have different skill levels and um, different ways on handling how they want to play ball. And I gotta believe as you've shown us here on this podcast, because of your athletic ability, you've had to have that gas down, full blast to be that player at Jordan, to be that player at Harbor, to be that player at William Penn. If you weren't that if you didn't have that gas pedal down, sounds like you probably wouldn't have snipped the field. But because of your hard work and your dedication, you probably did play like it was Game 7 of the World Series, just because of how you had to handle it. But knowing that your players have different personalities, and you would love to be able to probably put some of that motivation of one player into another kid's head that might have more talent. How do you balance that with with the motivation level with the kids there? Is that part of the reason of the flip the switch type thing? Because that intensity may not work for every one of your players.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely like almost, being a major league manager where you're more managing personalities. I mean, there's 100, I think 80 days of school. So if, I'm out there yelling at them and, getting on them every single day, it's, the message is going to wear thin. So I definitely coach each player a little bit different because some guys need a little kick in the butt. Some guys need a little,
Hug.
yeah, a little bit of a hug.
Hmm.
So yeah, I definitely think I coach guys a little bit differently because at the end of the day, I think with baseball, everybody knows when to get a bunt down. Everybody knows pretty much when to steal. But it's more to me managing personalities. It's how do I keep this kid and make him feel part of the team, even though he hasn't played for a week. I think that's kind of the answer to that question is just everyone's a little bit different. So just more managing personalities, I would say.
And with your program, how many kids are you you're in charge of the whole program, right? I know you're a
Yeah.
varsity coach, but I'm sure that the JV coach and the freshman coach, they come to you on how you want to run the program, correct?
Yeah, so I mean, we me and my assistants we usually talk pretty much the day before practice, or we text throughout the day, kind of what we want to work on. And yeah, that's I mean, they all know kind of how I want to play. It's really really hard nosed, diving for every ground ball, not afraid to take a pitch for the team, and that's how I want to play. And they're all on board with that. Um,
How many kids are from you have a freshman, JV, and varsity? Is that you have three teams?
we have varsity and JV, so we have about I think 24 kids in our program.
24 kids on your program. Okay. Okay. So it's basically what you have like what 12 and 12 or
Yeah, this year we're fortunate that the rest of the War League is kind of letting some of our guys double dip.
okay.
So we'll have some guys that are backups on varsity are going to go down and play JV.
Okay.
Um, so that way they still get their at bats and stuff. So that way, in the past we've had kids that needed to get at bats, but we've only had a varsity team. So, as a freshman, they don't get a ton of playing time and they kind of get discouraged. So, we're fortunate that this year we're able to, be able to move guys up and down a little bit.
So you may not have to worry about it as much as maybe Wilson or Pauly or Lakewood does as far as the roster is concerned. But I'm sure you deal with it a little bit, especially on the varsity side. How do you deal with that? Like with like let's just say like a senior, and the senior, I'm sure you've had to deal with it where the senior really, has been with the program for a long time, but yet just not there on being able to play, as a regular starter, and probably kind of frustrated, like, hey, man, I paid my dues, and then a junior may come in and take that spot. How would you handle those situations? Has that come up, or first off, has that come up?
Some situations like that.
Yeah.
I mean, we're so young. I mean, we have two seniors this year, and both of them are starters.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's more of just being open and honest with them,
Mm-hmm.
and kind of putting the ball back in their court and let
Mm-hmm.
them know it's like, hey, this guy's ahead of you, but it's like go take advantage of your opportunities, and we're gonna always put out the best lineup that gives us the best chance to win.
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of the day, it's we're not playing politics or anything like that. We just want to win.
Yeah.
So it's nothing personal.
Yeah.
Um, we and obviously when there's blowouts and stuff, I think it's the coach's obligation to get guys in, the non-starters in.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think just being open and honest with them.
I think that's great. And then as far as like in games of that are important, like conference games, where you got to have a win. What message are you giving to the team, knowing that you obviously everybody knows we're all smart. We know that we need to win this game. That's definitely true. But what do you instill in them so that they don't play tight, that they play loose?
I definitely try to get a read on them. If I feel like they're a little bit, nervous, then I'll try to be a little bit corny and silly. But then if if they're a little bit confident, I'll give them a little rah speech. I think it just depends on kind of how the mood of them, what kind of read I'm getting them, and sometimes I just kind of let them do their own thing.
Hmm.
Let the players do it. They play for each other, so kind of stay out of it.
Hmm. And with your players, what do you feel about travel ball, like especially like a travel ball, as a real youngster? Like I'm looking at travel ball now, and these kids are starting at 6 and 7 years old playing travel ball, and they're doing travel ball all the way up in the high school, and then still in high school doing travel ball. I mean, I'm sure I mean, you might not be able to give your full answer on here, but what is your opinion on all this all this travel ball and all this stuff that these kids are doing in baseball? That sounds like it was kind of the start of when you were. It sounds like it was still people were doing travel ball, but it sounds like not everybody was still doing travel ball when you're growing up, and it sounds like right after you left, sounds like it was really when it took off.
Yeah, so growing up, it was just like the elite of the elite were playing
Yeah.
travel ball. But I think travel ball can be good. I don't know if playing every single weekend year round is the greatest thing. I think go out and play another sport. You need a break. But I think in summertime, if you had nothing going on, you want to play travel ball, absolutely. But I think sometimes your body needs to rest. I think your mind needs to get away from the game. I think sometimes taking emphasis on getting stronger is better than playing games. So I think every situation is a little bit different, but I think I don't know if it's the greatest thing to be playing year round. If I'm being completely
Mhm.
honest, I think kids get burnt out.
Yeah. So what advice would you give a parent of somebody that let's say wants to play high school ball or beyond? They're in middle school at this time. That they're looking at different high schools to play at and this and that. Um, obviously, you would want if they're good, you want them at your school. And I got that part, but what like advice would you give them as far as um, what would you recommend for them to do with the travel ball or playing little league or pony or cold or whatever?
I mean, I'm kind of old school. I think there's value in playing pony ball. I think it's important. I think some of the greatest experience was the 13-year-old games at Hartwell Pony when you're a 14-year-old that you're not going to play, but you have to show up.
Hmm.
I think that teaches you kind of how to be in the dugout when you're
Hmm.
not in the lineup when you get older.
Hmm.
But I think as far as the travel ball goes, I think it's okay if you want to play. Not everyone's route is going to be the same. And as far as for kids that have aspirations to play in high school, I think you should just go out and see games and see where you might you have the best chance of playing if that's what you want, if you're serious about playing.
Hmm.
Sometimes the big name program might not be the best fit for you.
Hmm.
And I think that would kind of what I would suggest.
And that's an interesting point that I just thought about this, and I'd pick your brain on this. If you went to Jordan because you were going to have an opportunity to play varsity straight up. You were good enough to at least compete for a job on the varsity squad. Whereas if you went to Milliken, Lakewood, Wilson, Pauley, you probably have to play freshman or JV and work your way up. Do you feel that there might have been a chance due to that fact that you may have not have played at Harbor uh, at some of these other schools, but the fact that you were able to play varsity ball 4 years in a row gave you that momentum to play college ball? Or do you feel like you feel like even though I played at Milliken and maybe I wouldn't have played as a freshman on the varsity team, I still feel like I would have made my way and I would have made it to Harbor College.
I think if I would have went to one of the other schools and gone the traditional route of freshman JV, I think I probably would have got lost if I'm being like in the program.
Mm.
I mean, I maybe made varsity my junior senior year, but just playing varsity for 4 years, it's your freshman year you're going to struggle, but then by the time I was like towards the end of my sophomore year and early junior, I was like the game just slowed down so much
Hmm.
where growing up, you play, your 2 years of Pinto, and then you move up, and then you play your 2 years of Mustang, Bronco, etc., and you move up. But it's like 4 years at the same level, kind of, it's really slowed the game down for me, and then it just allowed me to get confidence, and so I don't know if I would have been able to play at the next level, just because I don't. I mean, maybe someone could have been better. There could have been one more guy that was better than me.
Hmm.
But just getting that, you know, just that experience for 4 years really helped me out.
Hmm. So I want to make this point then. You just mentioned that you have 24 players on the all together in your school. So if there's parents out there that have a kid that's borderline, you might want to consider Jordan High School because you're going to get a good opportunity. You're going to get a look. You're definitely going to get a look at Jordan. If there's that little amount of kids, you're going to get a look. And if you're good enough, you could be playing varsity ball as a freshman and sophomore, or these other schools. That might not be the case, and I think that could be a huge advantage for a lot of kids. Now, on the other token, I want to give you this opportunity because I think that it's important that I give you this opportunity because um, Jordan's on the north side of Long Beach, and traditionally the north side of Long Beach doesn't have the greatest reputation of area. Though that there's some great pockets in that area and great food and great area to live, but overall there is a stigma there. But you went to Jordan as a kid as a student there. So and obviously now it's even remodeled, so it's probably even more so. But could you give a synopsis and break that stereotype of Jordan so some of these parents might feel comfortable of sending their kid to that school?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's a hidden gem. Um, I mean, it's such a beautiful campus. The administration, I mean, the administration's amazing. I mean, just all the teachers care about the kids, and we brand new athletic facilities, so it's an amazing. I mean, the athletics are, our facilities are amazing, and I mean, it's not even that, just the academic stuff, brand new science labs, state of the art, machines for our engineering programs. It's amazing, to be honest. I think, it's, you hear Jordan and you almost think of it, just maybe you what you mean,
Yeah.
but so I just think it's an amazing school. It's where I grew up, or I mean where I went to high school.
And did you
Um,
feel safe when you were going to school there? Did you feel safe?
yeah, absolutely.
Feel safe? And how was the student body? How was the student body when you were going to school and you now as a teacher there?
Yeah, I mean the students were always great. It's always a warm campus. I mean, I'll wearing my Jordan hoodie, and people, oh, I graduated. My fiance gets annoyed with me because, oh, I graduated in 1988, and people are proud to go to Jordan. There's a proud alumni there, and I think it's administration does a great job, and I think people are proud to go to Jordan. So always felt it was best decision ever made.
And what message you want to leave our audience with about you or Jordan or about your program? Anything that you want to add?
I just think that, people, should consider, you know, sending their kid to Jordan. I mean, as far as for academics, just everything. Our basketball team won the CIF championship a couple years ago. Our football team, it's just for whatever reason, it's a bad rap, but I love it there. I loved it as a student. Nothing but positive experiences there. So yeah, it was awesome.
Well, Coach Phil, this has been a pleasure getting to talk to you and picking your brain about the mindset of what it takes to play college ball. And I love the fact that you said that, you know what, when it came to Little League and Pony, that you didn't make any all-star our teams, and you started off hitting 11th, and you worked your way to hit fourth. You worked your way at Jordan, and you hit 450, going to Harbor, not being the starter at first, and finding your way to being the starter, breaking your hand, thinking it's over, and finding your way to William Penn, and having a good career there. I mean, and having that mindset, that intensity, but also looking at things with that anxiety of excite. I love that you said excitement because I know I'm sure that you instill that with your players, especially if they're anxious to change that feeling into excitement. This opportunity, you said that at William Penn when you were talking about the weather being 25 degrees. What a great opportunity this is. I'm going to think about this. I might tell my grandkids one day about playing at 25 degree weather and having the time of my life. I know that you could always look back and say I wish I had more fun, but you it sounds like you made the best of your athletic abilities, and you took it to heights that most people don't take it to. And now you're at Jordan, and you're instilling this work with these kids. Like you've done it. You've done this work. So your kids, you can feel the empathy with your kids, but your kids also can't BS you because you went through all this and you weren't always the greatest player in your team. So these players that come to you that aren't sitting on the bench, you can tell them about, hey, yeah, when I wasn't on there, I was cheering for my team. I was getting myself ready because you never know when there's an opportunity or their injury or something will happen where I'm going to need you, and you got to be ready, and you got to be ready for that opportunity. And it sounds like you rang the bell over and over again. So I really appreciate your time here tonight.
Awesome. It was awesome. Thank you for having me.
Before I let you go, though, I got to end with a fun question. You've been in Long Beach all your life, so I know you got some spots. Where you like to eat in town?
It's kind of corny, but I'm gonna say chronic taco.
Chronic Taco. I think you are the. I think I've done 80 episodes or 80 some odd episodes, and I don't think anybody said Chronic Taco. So okay, Chronic Taco. So the only Chronic Taco I know right now is right before you get into Seal Beach on PCH. right? I think that's a Chronic Taco right there, right?
Uh, yeah, and then there's one on Woodruff too. I'm not sure if that might be Lakewood, but
Oh, Chronic Taco. Okay. Anything else besides Chronic?
I mean, I haven't been there in years, but I like the attic too, where they put the hot Cheetos on the mac and cheese and stuff.
Well, you've been there so long. I don't think it's called the Attic anymore. I think it's a. I
Oh
think it's a
wow.
different. I think it's a different name now. I don't know.
No, yeah, I haven't been
Yeah, I
there
think
in
it could still
years.
be the Attic. I could be wrong, but okay, Attic. Okay. Right on. Coach. I hope for a great season. It sounds like they got the right man for the job. You have your head on straight. That's for sure. And yeah, I can feel the passion and energy coming from you, from how you talk about baseball and how you talk about your program. So I wish you the best of luck this season.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
No problem. It's been a Long Beach thing.